So this weekend, I saw 4 movies. First Man, Bad Times at El Royale, Sorry to Bother You, and Apostle. And I'm only going to talk about one, and that is First Man, because I cannot stop talking about this movie. It is amazing. I absolutely loved it.
I see the moon sees me. Down through the leaves of the old oak tree.
The vehicle's not safe.
It's kind of surprising how this isn't really clicking with audiences. If you look at audience scores on different websites, you'll see that the audiences and the critics seem to be pretty split on this one. Critics seem to really love the movie, and audiences seem to be kind of mixed on it. A lot of people seem to not really enjoy the movie, and I can both see why, and I don't understand why, because I think this movie delivers on everything that you would want to see in a Neil Armstrong biopic. It is hyper-focused on Neil Armstrong, even. There's almost no scenes without him, because the movie is not about the moon landing, because we've seen that 100 times. The movie is not about the Gemini project. It's not about the Apollo project. It's not about JFK. It's about Neil Armstrong, and that is it. So we see Neil Armstrong with his family. We see Neil Armstrong as an astronaut. We see him as a pilot. We see him doing everything on his own. We see him as him. We don't see really much else. I mean, it kind of cuts to his superiors talking about him maybe, or putting him in charge of projects, or his wife kind of dealing with him not being around and seeing her perspective while he's going to the moon. You see all of this stuff, but it's almost always centered around him in some way. And I loved that approach. I think taking a super centralized focus on one thing is exactly what you should do with a biopic. I feel like I know what kind of person he is. I feel like I know his struggles. I know what haunts him. And that's what First Man excels at, is just showing this person being a person. It takes this iconic person that we all know as the man that first walked on the moon and brings him down to a very human, vulnerable state. He's this introverted, stoic kind of person that's haunted by the death of his daughter who died of cancer. And there's an amazing moment on the moon when they actually get on the moon, when he is at the edge of a crater and he throws his daughter's bracelet into the crater and it fades into blackness. And it's an incredible moment. It's probably my favorite moment of the movie. The music swells and Ryan Gosling is trying to hold back his tears, and he's great. And it's a really impactful moment because you know the character and you know his struggles. And so when you see this happen, it's, I think, both a relief for him and a relief for us as the audience, seeing that he's finally kind of got closure to this whole ordeal he's had with his daughter. And that's a really impactful moment in the movie because it was so focused on that character.
Cycle the agenda.
Turning it on, turning it off.
Positives don't stop here either. I think everything in the movie is incredibly well done. Obviously, we know the story. I mean, who doesn't? The Apollo 11 mission landed on the moon. That's one of the biggest feats in American and world history. It's an incredible achievement. We know the story. So I don't really feel like I should need to go into that at all. We see Neil Armstrong as a pilot, then going to the Gemini project, then the Apollo mission, then going to the moon, and that's it. That's the story. It's just the way that Damien Chazelle actually executes the story that makes all the difference to me, because he shoots the movie in a very documentary style where everything's kind of handheld. There's zooming, there's like whip pans. The camera is constantly moving to sort of make you feel like things are happening off the cuff as a documentary would. And at first, I didn't really love this approach, but as it went on, I got used to it and ended up actually really liking this documentary style that Damien Chazelle takes on. I love the color palette of the movie. I love that it's shot on, I believe, 16mm film, and it really kind of brings you into the era, but it does give you a little glimpse into the world and how people were sort of reacting to the Apollo missions and how they were saying that it was costing so much money and that they felt like it was not getting enough results, and so the American people were getting worried about it, and they kind of wanted to shut it down. And so it gives you a nice perspective of the stakes that were attached to the Apollo missions, and I liked that aspect of it. And I think that sort of plays in pretty well with Damien Chazelle's choice to do documentary filmmaking, because it does feel like, again, a documentary. Like the 60mm film, the constant approach to focusing on Neil Armstrong, and then having a few tidbits here and there from the world, but not an overall perspective of the world. And that execution works really, really well here. And the music from Justin Hurwitz is sensational. It's probably my favorite score of the year. The movie's not trying to like make you tense for things, because it's fully aware that everyone knows this story. So there's sequences where Ryan Gosling is trying to dock onto a thing, and in movies in space, Interstellar as an example, whenever you're trying to dock onto something, you have to make the scene super intense.
Cooper, what are you doing?
Docking.
Endurance rotation is 67, 68 RPM.
Okay, get ready to match our spin with the retro thrusters.
But here, there's a score piece called Docking Waltz, I believe. And it's like the most elegant piece of music in the whole movie. And it's just Ryan Gosling docking onto a thing. It's super simple, and it's wonderful. I love that. I love the music.
Houston, we're station keeping on the
Gina, about 162.
Okay, Gemini 8, we have cam solid. You're looking good on the ground. Go ahead and
And the performances, too, are really great. Claire Foy and Ryan Gosling sort of take center stage in this movie, and they give really emotional, dramatic performances that really leap off the screen. There's a great sequence when Ryan Gosling is crying at the funeral of his daughter that is like the perfect clip to show when you're receiving your Best Actor award at the Oscars. And there's an excellent moment when Claire Foy is telling him that he needs to go tell his sons that he possibly won't be coming back. And those two performances really do carry the movie. Ryan Gosling, I don't know how he does it in so many of his movies, but his stoic performances always are captivating to me. I really loved him in this movie. I actually like him a lot more than I liked him in La La Land, which is his Best Actor nomination. And I really loved Claire Foy. I'd love to see both of them get some kind of love come Oscar season.
Please let the light that shines on me shine on the one I love.
But yeah, it's a great movie. Go see it. It's really wonderful. It's impactful. It's well made. It's an incredibly ambitious project from Damien Chazelle. It's an excellent third movie from him. The performances are great. The cinematography is great. The color palette of the movie is wonderful. The music is incredible and easily the best part of the movie. And I give it a 9 out of 10. I loved it. I want to see it again. I think it's phenomenal. So go see it. And that's it. Bye. Oh, shoot, dude. Sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. All right, well, now that I'm here.